There is something on the continent of Africa that has been rapidly gaining popularity, even as it devastates, destroys some families forever. And this is what many men believe is a brilliant idea, a game shot. You simply do a DNA test on all your kids, just to make sure, to confirm that they're all yours. I am sure at the end of this video, many of you will no longer be too sure that that is a bright idea. This is a weekend special, a Kumekucha weekend special, and my apologies, we've not had one for a long time. Too many issues, and of course, too much politics. In fact, mind-boggling political developments. Virtually several every week. Anyway, why is it not a brilliant idea to take all your lovely children whom you love so much through a DNA test, just to confirm that they belong to you? Now, let us start by appreciating the fact that a vast majority of the times that a decision is taken for these DNA tests, it's a spur-of-the-moment decision, usually very emotional. If somebody suddenly met you at a street corner and suggested to you that they would like you to take a few quick decisions, spur-of-the-moment decisions, based on emotion, that may affect the entire destiny of your family, most of us would cringe. That definitely does not sound like a good idea. But of course, us men mostly have no qualms in doing a quick DNA test without thinking through the possible consequences. Let me start with a story I heard recently that just blew my mind. This man, who obviously loved his son very much, his married son, did not trust his wife, his own daughter-in-law. And so he took matters into his own hands. Using his DNA, he collected the DNA of all his grandchildren. And initially, the results seemed to vindicate him. None of his grandchildren matched with his DNA, meaning that it was impossible for any of his grandchildren to be his by blood, meaning also that they did not belong to his own son. And so he presented the results to his son, Yeah, you see that woman. You see, I've been telling you that woman. And his daughter-in-law was livid. Yeah, because she knew exactly what was going on. Yeah, she must have known her father-in-law has never liked her. So she said, fine. Why don't we do this thing properly, professionally? Yeah, then I'll accept the results. Because I'm sure, I have absolutely no doubt that these children belong to my dear husband. And that was what was done. Guess what results came back? The good wife was 100% correct. All those children belonged to one man and one man alone, her husband. And both DNA results were absolutely correct, implying that this man who sired all these children was not the biological son of this man he had always called father. Let me break it down for you, father, so that you get it clear, so that there's no confusion. This mzee, this old man, who started the whole DNA story, who suspected his daughter-in-law, yeah, and wanted to slap his daughter-in-law with the results of the DNA, ended up receiving a very serious slap instead from the very DNA test idea he came up with. Because science clearly proved beyond any doubt that this son he loved very much and knew as his own biological son, yeah, and was overprotective over him, so much so that he was suspecting his wife, his daughter-in-law. This son was not his biologically. But there was absolutely no problem in the family of his son. The problem was in his own family. What? Now, I don't know how the story ended. Yeah, but I'm sure this mzee had many regrets. Because had he not gone ahead with this DNA idea, things would have remained the same. The family would have remained happy, united as one family. He would not have ended up in the traumatic situation. He would not have ended up taking his own son through the trauma of discovery when you're already married and you have your own children, that the man you call their grandfather, the man you've always known as your father, is not actually your biological father. Now, I've told this story, yeah, real life story, in order to emphasize the point that when it comes to family, there are very many things that are best left as they are. If you dig too much, you'll find some rot that you may not want to face, that you may not even have the emotional strength to face. Yeah, so leave it alone. And instead, focus on the things that are really important for your family. Another very good reason I've told this story is that there are many in this argument who say that women in previous generations were better characters. Women in the 50s, 60s, 70s were angels, maybe even in the 80s. But after that, women became devils. Actually, the true position is that the character of a woman has never changed since the beginning of time. We have always had on planet Earth weak women, and we have always had very strong, principled women. And so this real life story was the perfect one to give, yeah, because the culprits were not anywhere near this current generation. Yeah, they were from the past. The planting of illegal DNA took place in past generations. and not in this current generation, as the old and wise man, had suspected. Fellow men, please stop being naive and blind. A woman does not have to go clubbing. A woman does not have to go out for a drink or lunch or supper, whatever, with this peddler of the illegal DNA. No. It can happen right inside your house when you're at work. It can happen at some hotel at 10 a.m. in the morning when your wife is supposed to be out shopping. It can happen when your wife goes to visit her parents, etc., etc. And it can happen in Elwak, Moyale, Taveta, Mombasa, Kisumu, Machakos, Kitui, anywhere in any of the many counties we have in our country. You know, many naive men, when they're thinking of these things, just think of Nairobi and Mombasa Raha. Wake up, bro. Wake up. Now, there's something else many of us men may not know. It is very possible to meet somebody today in the next 1 hour or so, and tomorrow you'll be married. Oh yes, I know very many people who got married in this way, and some of them have had very happy marriages. Two adults met for the first time, really liked each other, and went home. End of story. Some of them formalized issues later. Some of them never formalized the issues. But you know them today as Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. Very respectable married couple. Now let's take that further to a hypothetical situation. I'm a woman. I met you today. Tonight, I've entered your house. I've become your wife. But before I met you, I had other boyfriends. And I never cheated on a single one. I had one boyfriend at a time. But 3 days ago, I didn't even know you existed. But I spent the night with my boyfriend then. A man I trusted and knew very well. I knew him much better than I know you, who I've met just today. But I like you more. And after 3 weeks at your house, I find that I'm pregnant. And if you look at everything logically, that pregnancy must be yours. But there's also a probability that it is not. A very small probability, but still, there's a chance that it's not. And so we're very happy in our marriage. And 30 years later, you come up with this DNA idea. Now, don't get me wrong. The Bible does not support sex before marriage for very many good reasons, let alone pregnancy. There are much more serious spiritual implications. But that is a topic for another day. But your pastor keeps on telling you. Your imam keeps on telling you. But you're ignoring them. According to you, they're talking rubbish. They're talking about things that used to happen in other centuries, not relevant to this modern age. That's your opinion. In fact, we live in such an evil age that women, or even men, who are still considered virgins, are considered outcasts of society. They're not normal. Which tells you we live in times when evil is normal and things which are good, not only good to Almighty God, but for our own good, are abnormal, impossible to follow, etc., etc. Anyway, let's stick to the topic, DNA. So if you were to face reality, I don't know how you met your wife, but if you were to face reality, is it fair? Is it logical? does it make sense to ensure that you do a DNA test to confirm that all your children are yours? Think about it again. There are many people who even talk about the economical factor. Yeah. They work out the cost it takes, yeah, to bring up a child from the day they were born until they're about 21 years old. In the UK, I think I was given a figure like 10 million United Kingdom pounds. And so the logic of doing the DNA test, yeah, is that in case one of the children is not yours, maybe you can get your 10 million pounds back. Or can you? Or, okay, the child is not yet 21. Some of them are 6, 7 years old, 8 years old, which in my view is worse. An adult will find this easier to deal with. But then a child, 6 years old, he suddenly finds that the man he has always known as his father is now looking at him with hatred. Oh boy. I'm sorry, that'll never make sense to me. My advice, forget this DNA rubbish. Go home and treat your wife like a queen. The other things are not important. Because in a home where the wife is treated like a queen, not a king, yeah, a queen, that's important. In the same house, there's the king, and that's you. In that kind of home, those children will grow up very happy. They will grow up as very responsible citizens, and they'll be able to use their God-given talents, yeah, for the good of the country, and even for your own good in old age. In my view, even if the DNA were to say different, you have already invested so much, yeah, emotionally, financially, etc., into that child, that child is yours 1000%. Now, I'm not supporting those who cheat. No. And of course, we have to realize that when a woman cheats, the consequences are much more terrible than when a man cheats. Yeah, that's life, and it's not me who made the rules. But I don't support men who cheat, and I don't support women who cheat. There was another family, yeah, where the man did tests and found that out of his 4 children, 2 are his and 2 are not. And the order of the children that are not his is very interesting. The firstborn is not his. Yeah, you can guess what happened. And then the thirdborn was around the time that he had a very serious misunderstanding with his wife and chased away out of his house. And she went to stay with her parents for over 1 month. In fact, he had told his wife, I don't want to ever see you again. But they ended up reconciling. And shortly after that, she found she was pregnant. Baby number 3. And so again, you can guess what may have happened. Some illegal DNA in some families is as a result of rape by a member, a prominent, respected member of that very same family. It was evil. And in the end, justice is always done by Almighty God. But that child is innocent. They were not there when it happened. So why do you want to punish them 30 years later? Why do you want to punish them 8, 7 years later? You know, women carry a lot of emotional baggage. And many mothers have carried to their grave some very terrible secrets. My point is, women have many terrible things hanging over their heads. Why do you want to add to the pile? What will you gain with your silly DNA tests? I discovered recently that some of the people promoting these DNA tests are also promoting something else that is straight from hell. It is a catchphrase that has entered into Kenyan society with a bang, and I'm sure you've heard it. Dry spell. You're single, either a man or a woman, and you're talking about a dry spell, and that is normal. Actually, it isn't. And if you think about it a little deeper, you will realize that it is a way of promoting the idea that a person does not need to wait for marriage to get involved in lungulu. Or is it lungulu? But where everybody is getting conned, is in this simple fact. Both getting rid of the dry spell and confirming that all your kids are yours, will put money in the pocket of somebody. Or rather has the potential of generating business for somebody. The people who sell those DNA tests. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.